Okay, so, ooh, that's kind of loud. Today, we are talking about solving by graphing again. Don't you just graph both sides and see where they cross? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, but sometimes the equations are kind of nasty that you have to put into your calculator. So let's do the very first one there. It really doesn't look too hard, but if you don't know where the absolute value sign is, it's going to be really tough. Number one on your worksheet is 2 times the absolute value of x minus 1, and then minus 7, and then equals 3. Well, I got two equations. There's this one, and there's that one. This one's the hard one to put in unless you know where the absolute value symbol is. So let me show you on the calculator. If I were you, here's what I would do. I would go to your y equals screen. I'm going to clear that out so I can get this ready for you. Okay. There is an absolute value symbol. I need 2 first, though. 2. But I don't know where it is. But I do know where there's a list of every single sign that the calculator can do. Do you know where that is? I'll tell you. It's under catalog. See right above the 0 there? So go second, catalog, and it brings up a list of every single thing that the calculator can do. Now, absolute value happens to be at the top of the list there because of alphabetically. Okay, but let's kind of peruse this for a moment. Arrow up. See a whole bunch of little symbols in there, like minutes, like something squared, it looks like parentheses, of course, brackets. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Weird looking brackets, plus and minus, who I already knew that it can divide, yay. There's a square root though, that could be handy. Here's 10 to the power of, that could be handy. All right, so this is a list of everything your calculator can do. And so if you want to know where absolute value is, yes, it's also under the math button, but it's pretty cool. And here's the other thing. It's alphabetical, and therefore you can sort by letter, okay? And right as soon as you go into the catalog, the calculator automatically knows to put you in alpha mode so that if you want to search for absolute value again, and I don't want to have to like arrow all the way down to it, it starts with an A, right? So all I have to do is find the A and the alpha characters, which are green on the screen. So you see A is right above the math key there, see? So I'm going to hit A and see how it brings me back to absolute value. Or if I wanted to search for something that I think was like a vector or something, and I go for V, as in vector. Also a good superhero in that movie. All right, I guess they don't even have vectors on this, but they have variance, and they have one variable stats. So anyway, if you can know what it is alphabetically, you can search alphabetically really quick that way. How about Y? Let me see if there's any good Y stuff. That's Z. How did I get the Z? Oh, there are no Y things. Okay. All right, I guess. I thought there might be a Y thing in there, but there isn't. All right, so I'm going to go back to absolute value. So that's under A, and there we go. And I hit abs, and then mine has the little bars. That's because I have the new operating system. If yours says ABS, that means you're doing absolute value of, and that's good. All right. So now I'm going to type in this equation, x minus 1, x minus 1. And then to get out of my bars, I'm going to hit arrow over. You might have to just end the parentheses to be done with your absolute value. And then I'm going to say minus 7. And then I'm good. And then I hit enter, and then I enter my other equation, which is the other side, which is y equals 3. Enter. And then I hit graph. Now, what if I can't see where they cross on my picture? Well, I can kind of see it, but it's not great. Try different zooms. There's a lot of cool zooms. Okay, there's zoom 6. Try zoom 6 if you haven't already. Zoom 6 puts it in like that. That's a pretty awesome zoom for this one. Do you know of any other zooms? Does anybody teach you other zooms? Just other cool ones? Zoom 0 is a cool one. Zoom 0. All right, do you know what zoom 0 does? It makes the X's and the Y's. Let me make sure here. Zoom 0. I'm going to look it up and see. Can't remember for sure what it does. I think I know, but 7, 8, 9. Zoom 0 is called zoom fit. And that tends to try to fit where the important part of the graph that the calculator thinks is important onto the screen. So zoom 0, oftentimes the calculator knows what you want, which is usually if there's two lines intersecting, that's what you want. It'll usually, zoom 0 will bring you right to the spot that you want. Doesn't always work though. Zoom stat is really good if you're graphing statistically, graphing stats. Okay, like if you have a plot. Zoom trig is really good for graphing sine and cosine. Z square is another good one. What that does, try zoom 5. What that does is it makes the x and the y distances exactly the same as each other. Did you know that the standard window doesn't do that? The little gaps for like how big they count by on the x and the y are different in your normal zoom. So if you want them to be like exactly the same, that's zoom 5. Okay? All right, so I'm going to go back to what was the point of this? I graphed both sides, and now I got to see what? See where they cross, see where they intersect. So I'm going to go to second, calculate the intersection. I like to just explain what the calculator is asking you for, but eventually you'll realize that you just have to enter for the first two questions. The first question is, am I on the first curve? Well, if you only put two curves on the graph at once, it'll always be on the first curve. Okay, curve is the same as a line. Yeah, it's on the first line. Now is it on the second line? Yeah, so hit enter. Okay, so the first two times you can just hit enter. Just never try to put three things on the graph at once, and this will always work. You can just go enter. Now guess, there are two places it intersects. All I need, some kids take a ton of time like making it perfect. Doesn't matter. If I'm closer to this intersection point, there's only two intersection points, that one and that one. Those are the two spots they touch. If I'm closer to the one than the other, then that's all I need. Am I closer to one? Yeah, good enough. So my intersection's at -4. Now I'm going to do it again to get the other one. Second, calculate the intersects. And the first two things I hit are enter. It was on the one line, then it's on the other line. Now this guess, I want to arrow over to be by that other spot where they intersect. Am I closer to that part than I am to the other? Then it's good enough. You don't have to get super picky about how close you are. And that says intersect is at 6. X equals 6. Okay, so my two answers were at 6, and what was the other one? -4. So those are my answers. Know why I wouldn't get full credit for this on my homework? No work. How do you show the work on this then? You just sketch the graph quick. So I'm going to take a quick look at it again and see what it looks like. Well, it's basically a big V, and the bottom of the V is just to the right down there. And then there's another line going across. So this is all that I'm okay with you just having this. I'm going to do different colors because it'll look better. And then saying, here's my answers. See what I mean? That's good enough. Now, technically, in the directions, it does say to write down the window settings and the equations that you typed in. I feel like that's redundant because we are typing in exactly what's here and exactly what's here. So I don't need you to do that in my class. Some of your teachers might be more, people that are listening at home, some of your teachers might want you to do exactly what it says in the directions. I'm telling you that I'm okay with leaving that part out. You can just make a sketch. And then the last thing it asks for is the window settings. Again, if you go into your window, you can write down all those window settings. But I'm realistically probably not going to check those on your homework for yourself. You can just make me a sketch. All right? Let's do another one that's kind of weird. Number 4, please. I know you can handle the other ones. Let's go to number 4, where if you type it in wrong, you will meet your doom. Mathematically, at least. Absolute value of x over 2. And then it says +4. And then outside there it's +17 equals -5. Okay, I need to enter that in my calculator. I'm going to go to -2 first. So I go right here, clear that out, and make -2. And don't use a minus, use the negative sign. -2. Now I need that absolute value thing again. I'm going to go to catalog. And if I needed to look it up by alphabet, I would type in the letter right now, but I happen to be right in the right spot. Absolute value of. And now I need x over 2. Did you know that that x over 2 there needs to be in parentheses? Anytime, okay, technically it would have worked without them this time, but I want to warn you, anytime you have a parenthesis, or sorry, anytime you have a fraction, your calculator is you're way better off to put it in parentheses. I've seen many, many ACT test questions like this, where the kid types it in the calculator and they type it in wrong because they haven't got the parentheses around it. All right, that cell phone needs to go on my desk now. Thank you. All right. This is close to done. I just need my parentheses around the x over 2. So I'm going to go parentheses x divide by 2 and parentheses. And then I go plus 4. Plus 4. And then I go plus 17 outside the parentheses. So I go over here. And then I go plus 17 out there. And I'm done with that equation. And the other equation is negative 5. Negative 5. Enter. And then I hit graph. And I can't see where they cross yet. Am I going to be... Oh, I can see where one of them crosses. Why won't it show nice? So maybe I could try a zoom. Maybe I'll try zoom 0. Zoom 0. Please work. Please work. Well, it kind of is a little better, but I still can't see that other spot where it touches. Okay. But you know what? I don't have to. Watch. Second, calculate the intersects. Number 5. First curve, yeah, I'm on the first line. Yes, it's moved to the second line. It's blinking down here on the second line. It'll always be on the second line. So then guess. Do you get if I go over here? Of course, it's going to give me that answer where they cross. But what happens if I go way over there? I just have to be closer to that spot than I am to the other spot. Come on. Computer's too slow. There. I'm now closer to that one. So my answer will come up as a negative number, and I'll know that I've got the right spot. Nope. Didn't work. Do you see how it bounced over to that one? Why? Your calculator's got this thing about how it only can see answers that are on the screen. Okay? All right. So, moral of the story is I have to get out farther so I can see that other one. One of the answers is 14, but to see the other one, I'm going to have to zoom out. Zoom out. And I had kids tell me my zoom out is broken because when I hit zoom out, nothing happens. It's because you haven't hit enter after you've hit zoom out. Now you hit enter again. And now it zooms out. And now I can see where both of them cross. Okay? Do you get how your calculator can only give you answers that are on its screen? All right. Okay, so there. I've done a couple of them for you. How about the square root? Remember where I told you that was? So like when you do number 5, it's the square root of 3x minus 2. I'm going to clear this out. Square root is under catalog. And I can arrow up until I find the square root button. It's a little bit of a pain. It might be faster if you knew where it was on the keys. But just so you know, it's right there. Square root of. And then it's 3x minus 2 in the problem I'm looking at. 3x minus 2. Enter. And the other side of that one is just an x. So it's just an x, not a 5. There we go. And now I hit graph. And if I can't see it very well, in this case, I probably should zoom in. Zoom in, number 2. And then I'm going to move my little zoomy thing to where I want to zoom. Kind of want to zoom in that area. And now I've zoomed in, and I can see better where they touch. Second, calculate intersect. Let's see where they cross. All right, I think I've given you enough on this one. We have a few minutes left. I can get some scores from you.